As you all know, on Sunday night, our Miami-Dade County Chief of Safety and Emergency Response and Director of our Police Department, Ramirez, suffered a critical injury in the Tampa area. He's still currently hospitalized in Tampa, and I'm very glad to report that he is stable, and he is stable after undergoing surgery on Monday. And every day that he is recovering, he is continuing to regain his strength. He's now alert, awake, and responsive. We're optimistic that he will continue to recover swiftly, surrounded by his family and his loved ones. I want to thank our entire county family, our law enforcement community, and everyone for their outpouring of love over the last few days for Freddie and the Ramirez family, as well as I want to thank our chairman, Oliver Gilbert, and the members of our Board of County Commissioners for their support, strength, and prayers. We're joined by Commissioner Bermudez. I am glad that we were able to be by his side in this time of darkness, as together we hope to see some light. Chief Ramirez is the Miami-Dade Police Department for nearly 30 years. He rose through the ranks since starting as an officer in 1995 to become director in 2020. He has a distinguished career, a distinguished record of protecting our community for decades. He's a leader beloved by his fellow law enforcement officers and colleagues, and he is a committed public servant who earned my trust and the trust of the former administration as well. I elevated him to the dual role of Chief of Safety and Emergency Response, as well as being Director of MDPD. It's a role in which he was wholly committed to advancing our public safety initiatives, running a top-notch police department, overseeing our Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and Emergency Management departments, and always, always supporting our officers and first responders. He led the county's police response to the tragic Surfside collapse. He carried this department, this government, and much of this community last year when one of his own officers, Officer Etchie, was shot and killed in the line of duty. Freddie is the type of leader, the type of man who bears the burdens of those around him. He carries the weight of his department, and he's always willing to take on more. He's a strong and invaluable member of my team, and he has served Miami-Dade County honorably, and in fact, he's done so for most of his life. We're keeping him and his family and his entire Miami-Dade County family in our prayers at this time. We have also acted swiftly to ensure continuity of leadership across our public safety teams so that vital public safety services for our community can continue uninterrupted. I've appointed our Chief of Corrections and Forensics, J.D. Patterson, as the interim Chief of Public Safety, and he has responsibility now for the public safety portfolio that includes Miami-Dade Police, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, the Department of Emergency Management, Corrections and Rehabilitation, and the Medical Examiner's Office. I've also appointed Deputy Director Stephanie V. Daniels to the position of MDPD Interim Director. Both appointments will be in place until further notice, and I trust that both Chief Patterson and Interim Director Daniels' steady leadership will help guide our teams and our community through these very difficult moments. I know that these last few days have been especially challenging for our public safety teams and all who know and love Chief Ramirez. This incident is also a tragic reminder of the critical role that mental health plays in our law enforcement officers' well-being, all of our public safety officers. The reality is that these jobs are very demanding, they're stressful, and they're emotionally taxing. They often require our officers to put their lives on the line. So mental health will always be a concern for our officers and our public safety personnel who put their lives on the line and leave their families each and every morning without a guarantee that they will ever return. We must continue working to eliminate any stigma around mental health care and to ensure that it is uplifted as an essential part of our health care. And I want to remind all Miami-Dade County employees that they have access to our Licensed Employee Assistance Program, EAP. For our entire community, you can always dial 988. This is the mental health and suicide prevention line that is operated locally by Jewish Community Services, and it is answered by experienced JCS 211 Miami Helpline counselors. As I've said, nothing matters right now more than Chief Ramirez's health and the well-being of his family. We join his family, his loved ones, and his entire Miami-Dade County family in continuing to pray for his swift recovery. And we thank Chief Patterson and Interim Director Daniels and all of the assistant directors who have stepped up and who join me here today for their service to our community. Thank you and God bless. Ahora voy a decir unas palabras en español. El domingo por la noche, nuestro jefe de Seguridad Pública del Condado de Miami-Dade y director del Departamento de Policía de Miami-Dade, Freddie Ramirez, sufrió una herida grave cuando estaba en el área de Tampa. Freddie sigue hospitalizado en Tampa, pero está estable después de tener una cirugía el lunes. Para garantizar que los servicios de seguridad pública continúan sin interrupciones, he designado al jefe de Correcciones y Medicina Forense, J.D. Patterson, como jefe interino de Seguridad Pública, y también he designado la subdirectora Stephanie Daniels como directora interina de los policías. Ambos estarán en el cargo hasta nuevo aviso. Lo más importante en este momento es la salud del jefe Ramírez y el bienestar de su familia. Rezamos por su pronta recuperación. Gracias. And now I invite Commissioner Gilbert to say a few words.
I'm Oliver Gilbert, Chairman for the Board of County Commissioners. I'm joined here by J.C. Bermudez. He's the committee chair who's over law enforcement. Let me just first say that I have every confidence in J.D. and Stephanie. I know they will do a good job. This is sad. This is sad. Because Freddie wasn't just a colleague, he's a friend. He's a part of a greater family, he's part of a greater community. So we're not just praying for him and his family. I'm praying for the men and women of law enforcement who are all personally affected by this. Look, it's times like this where we here in Miami-Dade County show how we are really one community. When we come together after hurricanes, when we come together in Surfside, this is difficult. We won't pretend it's not difficult, but it's also a reminder that we have to be more vigilant in taking care of ourselves. They have to be more vigilant in taking care of themselves, as vigilant as they are in taking care of the public. Everybody who puts on a badge and a gun, they leave their house. Every first responder, they leave their house and they put themselves on the line every day. When they come home, they have all the same stresses that humans do. The human experience exists for us all. They take our weight and they take theirs. We have services available. We have to do a better job of what the mayor said, creating the idea that there's nothing wrong with seeking help. It's a sign of strength to tell us that you need help. Because if you just let us know. We never want to feel this sad again. We never want to be this heartbroken again. Freddie is an extraordinary man, an extraordinary public servant. And we're praying for him, his family, this community, and this force. Thank you.
Creole interpretation.
Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde. Dimanche soir, directeur de la police contre Miami-Dade là, avec chef sécurité publique, Freddie Ramirez souffrit une grave blessure dans la région Tampa. Et qu'on y a encore une situation stable pendant que l'hôpital après deux opérations qu'elle subit lundi. Pour assurer sécurité à continuer faite dans la région, magistrat Daniela Living-Cavan nommé chef correction avec investigation dans la région J.D. Patterson pour assurer intérimaire dans la sécurité publique. Et puis, les nommé tout pour assurer intérimaire directeur adjoint la police là, Stephanie Daniels, pour les capables d'assurer intérimaire ça. Et tous deux pour le fait jusqu'à nouvel ordre en attendant que y ait l'autre décision qui prend. Pour qu'on y ait, pas rien qui est plus important par sa santé, M. Ramirez. Et nous continuons à prier pour la famille avec rétablissement. Merci.
Thank you very much. We're going to open up for a couple of questions, starting with Doug and then with Pete. We're going to start with Doug and then with Pete.
Thanks so much. Mayor, can you discuss what you said, what Director Ramirez said Sunday night regarding the incident at the hotel and what you said to him?
I had a very brief conversation with the chief at around 8:30 p.m. He was very remorseful, and I reassured him that we would talk the following morning. He told me he was driving back to Miami at that time, and I told him we would talk the next day further.
What did he describe to you that he was remorseful from?
There was an incident at the hotel in Tampa, and that he had made mistakes, and he was remorseful, and he was going back to Miami, and we would talk about it more the next day.
Continue with Pete.
I interviewed Freddie a couple of times when he was running for sheriff, and he returned as Miami-Dade Police Director. What really struck me was his love and passion for law enforcement. And this just seems to hit you really hard. This really seems to hurt. Can we talk about that? Why this hurts so much and probably catches us all by surprise.
I love Freddie. He is an amazing human being. He is the best of law enforcement, what law enforcement means. I have total trust in his leadership.
What struck me was how much he had to look forward to. Each of those interviews we did with him at CBS 4, he was always looking forward to something with his passion for law enforcement.
Yes. Yes, he was extremely passionate about law enforcement, about his officers, about public safety, and about the community. And that was reflected in everything he did, and it was returned by the amount of love that the community felt and expressed for him.
Last
We're
question.
going to have a question.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Did you know after that phone conversation that you may need a new police director? Any kind of thoughts with respect to that?
I was focused on the moment. Freddie told me he had made a mistake, that he was prepared to resign, and I told him we would talk about it the next day.
So he offered up to his resignation?
Yes, he did.
¿No podría decir eso en español?
If we can repeat that in Spanish?
About the entire conversation.
Sí, de lo que hablaron, que fue lo que le dijo.
Sí. Él me llamó y hablábamos en una conversación muy breve. Él me dijo que él ha hecho unos errores, que él tenía mucha pena y que quiso ofrecer su resignación. Y yo le dije, bueno, está en la ida, el regreso a Miami, y mañana vamos a hablar
No
más.
se imaginó en ningún momento.
No podía imaginar. Increíble, no. Definitivamente no. No tenía ninguna idea.
How did you one, sorry, Glenna, 1 second. We have a question here, and then we go with
I'm going to
it.
ask the same question. So he did offer to resign, correct? And what was your response?
Just get home safely. We'll talk tomorrow.
Obviously, domestic situations are horrible and sad and personal, but what does this say in terms of how he acted? What does that say about the leadership at Miami-Dade Police? Obviously, a difficult time he was going through, but what should the public take away from this?
I cannot speculate as to anything that might have been going on. There's an investigation, and we'll soon learn more. I only know what I was told, and that he was returning to Miami, and we would talk further.
Okay, we're going to take 2 more questions, and then we're going to Have you spoken to him since all this? I know he's talking again, he's alert. Have you spoken to him?
No. I have visited with the family. I have visited by his bedside, but we have not had a conversation.
We have Chuck and
Mayor, so he didn't get into specifics with you about what he was concerned about resigning, or he just said?
He said there was an incident at a hotel and that there had been police involvement and that he was offering his resignation.
if there's any other questions,
Was
not
it violence
related
against
to
his wife that he described?
conversation, sorry. I know you were waiting, Jenny, and then we're gonna close it out.
Después de lo que sucedió y ya estamos en miércoles, habiendo procesado todo lo que ha pasado, ¿qué es lo que usted le tiene que decir al público acerca de Freddy?
Freddy es un hombre increíble, un hombre que tiene tanto amor, cariño para la comunidad y su familia, y también para los policías. Eso es su carrera, su vida, y es un gran desastre lo que ha pasado.
Como usted lo manifiesta y todos los que hemos entrevistado al director de la policía era una gran persona, pero ha trascendido muchas versiones que no lo dejan muy bien parado, un escándalo político. ¿Usted diría que usted conoció esto? O sea, que él básicamente iba a renunciar porque había un escándalo amoroso o político dentro de eso. ¿Hubo algo que le dijo eso o no?
Solamente que había un evento en el hotel y que él tuvo pena para lo que ha pasado y que él estaba ofreciendo salir de su puesto.
¿Involucrado su esposa algo?
No,
Thank you very
nada.
much.
Did we hear from the
Thank
interim
you.
director, just for message to Miami-Dade County and the men and women involved?
I think this is not, this
Is her
is not the
message
moment
taken
for, no, I think we're gonna close it
Yeah,
out. If
she's an
not
excellent
the moment.
professional. She was our deputy, and she is definitely ready and able to serve admirably. Thank you.